Hello and welcome to today's video. This time, once again, we're at the London Paperback Show. It's been a fantastic show and I can't wait to show you around. So sit back, relax and let's get to it. Well, here we are again, and this is perhaps the third show now, post-COVID, and we're once again at the Bloomsbury Holiday Inn in Carm Street, and I was there reasonably early. Some stalls were amazingly already set up just after 7 o'clock. Other ones were in the process of setting up, or some dealers hadn't even arrived. So this particular weekend was very bad for weather in the UK, and road and rail links were definitely suffering because of that. However, some people who live locally didn't have any issue at all. Like the Piccadilly line, for example, going into Bloomsbury and Russell Square was sadly shut for part of the morning. So it did delay a few people actually getting in. But at the same time, pretty much everyone made it in the end. But it meant that it wasn't quite as manic as it has been initially, as soon as the doors open, but it was certainly brisk throughout the day. So I just focused, once I'd given Dorset Bob a hand to get all his gear in and get that basically in place, I used the opportunity to start filming before it got a bit too busy. So this is actually in the Ephemera Fair, which once again was absolutely stacked with paperbacks and books, which is fantastic for me. So the dealers know they're going to be besieged with book collectors, and they made full use of that by bringing along their book stock. Like the traditional Bloomsbury shows, they have their £3 a book stalls just as you get inside the door. And once again, I made a point of getting in there early to at least film what was on offer before it had been too picked over, because usually by the end of the day there's like 20 books left. So I got in, and you may see some stuff here that, oh god, I would have definitely grabbed that at £3, because that's all that these books were, and they went even lower than that later on. Those ones we saw at the start there, those were £1 a book initially, up until about 11. Then I think you got, what was it, 3 for £1, from 11 till 1. After 1 o'clock, it was 9 books for £1. So I certainly filled my boots there. Definitely, it was fantastic. But there was some good stuff here. I mean, yes, some of these made paperbacks, perhaps they're not really worth £3, but once again, as the day went on, the books got cheaper. So I think there was definitely some deals to be had, as there usually is in these instances. But yeah, it was fantastic, and there was so much on offer this time. And I would say it was the show of bargains. There was far more bargains than I was expecting. So, and I've always said this at these shows, you can go along with perhaps, 20, 30 quid in your pocket and literally come away with a carry bag full of books. So when you think the cost of a new paperback these days is at least a tenner, generally speaking, £8 or £9.99 at a minimum, there is so much great value to be had in the world of second-hand books, and they're becoming more and more a fantastic thing to collect than ever before, in my opinion. Some nicer Buildings of England's there. I was pretty sure I had those ones, even the hardbacks, so I did steer clear of picking any of those up, but at £3 a pop, that was well worth it. Some really nice antiquarian stuff here. I mean, dirt cheap, really. Absolutely dirt cheap, and nice runs of stuff as well. Evidently, someone's big collection there of stuff that's come off someone's wall. There was even an ANC Black 20-shilling book there, that Belgian one. Admittedly, one of the more common ones, but even so, £3, that's an absolute steal. I would have had it, except it's one that I've already got. I just spotted there Folio 21. That's actually a book I'm after. That's really frustrating. I just didn't pick up on it at the time. I would have had that. It's basically the first 21 years of the Folio Society. It's a book I am actually after. Not difficult to get or anything. I can certainly pick one up online, but the fact that there was one there and it is a book that's currently on my radar is a bit... Always the way, you see. You go back, you look at these videos, you almost can't take it all in when you see these walls of books in front of you. You just don't know where to begin, particularly when you're filming, because I'm trying to keep an eye on that as well. Now, this is Dorset Bob's stall. Now, as the same as last time, he was absolutely besieged from the moment the doors opened. So as soon as he sort of had his stall sort of laid out, I made a point of diving in and filming what I could before any of it started to sell. Obviously, there was dealers buying and trading amongst each other, but even so, this is before the general public were able to get in. So I made the most of that. So these are a fantastic run of the larger format magazine New Worlds. And Bob has got a fairly good selection and deep depth of stock on those. So if you're after some of those larger format rare ones, he's also got plenty of copies of the latest issue as well. So once again, just drop Bob a line at mrbook451@outlook.com if any of these are what you're after. There's the very latest one there, and it's a great read too. But these late 60s magazine style ones, Bob brought a big collection of those in, so he's got them in stock at the moment, but they don't last long. So just drop Bob an email if you're missing any of those. It was definitely the show for old pulps, and Bob himself brought along an incredible selection of original American weird tales, but all the other genres were represented, and there was lots of pulps at this show. There really was. Admittedly, a few people have said that the actual market for old pulps is shrinking a bit, and that's true. When you think that the books came out in the 20s, 30s, 40s, the people buying them is not for nostalgia now. It's usually for the content. So I think tastes and trends in the world of pulps and paperbacks are definitely changing all over the world. The pulps are still, particularly in high grade, very popular in America, but I think they are waning over here a little bit with the amount of people collecting them. All people have just got their sets, so they're not what they once were, shall we say. These horror ones are really nice that Bob had. Even a pan record there. Very, very scarce. They only had 15 on it, and that sold later in the day, as you would expect, because that's cheap. I would have put 25 on that, because they just don't turn up. But some good stuff there. So I picked up a few New Worlds myself, the digest size ones. Yep, some early pulps and what have you, fanzines, all good stuff. Now, Bob also had fairly recently this run of first edition and early edition Penguin Crime. And you can see some of these are absolutely key titles. Most of these are in beautiful dust wrappers. So that's why they are the price that they are. So like Hand of the Baskervilles, 70. There was an unwrappered one in the other room for 50. So the prices might seem high like that, but it's got a blank back, which is rare. That's the tail end of the print run with a blank back. So some of these prices might seem high. This is what they're making, these rare crime books these days. And particularly when they're in this sort of shape, these are excellent. A lot of these are better than my own copies. They're absolutely fantastic. The wartime ones especially, which are the ones we're looking at here, very, very scarce. So if you see anything here that you might be interested in, just drop Dorset Bob bell, another scarce one, Murder in Hospital, at Mr. Book 451, and he'll sort you out with these. I mean, this one there, £300, but look at the condition of it, and it's a real red. I've seen that sell for 500, that one. So, another mega rarity. And that one perhaps a little bit more common, but yeah, so there they are. So the rarest crime that was in the room. There was another stall which had some crime titles, but that was the real rare stuff there. Now a bit more of Bob's general stock, which is his nice stock, but it's not his mega high priced stuff. But this is just in the racks for people to browse through, and at least a couple of boxes of this was sold throughout the day. So lots of people with armfuls of stuff. Some great titles were to be had. A few people bought the gold medals and that. Bob said he brought along some stuff that hadn't been at the shows before. So he had some success with, like, the Shadow, for example. Did well with some of his Shadow paperbacks. Maybe the prices were a bit cheap. Like he says, some of it is pre-COVID prices, and they've not been updated. So there may have been a few bargains to be had here. But typical of Bob's stock is the high quality of his actual range, and it's clearly evident here. The stuff that he's got is tip-top shape. If you're a book collector, that's what you want. They may not be the cheapest, but you're getting quality, and I think that really counts in a paperback collection. Loads and loads of good stuff here. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, there were plenty of people picking up multiple copies of some of these books. Yes, excellent stuff. And a few more sort of early digesty size ones. And Bob's also got a good range of paperback bags, and they actually sold out on the day. So if you're after the paperback bags or the wider digest size bags for your really thick A formats or digests, Bob keeps them in stock now. He's perhaps the #1 UK importer and seller of those now. They're very, very hard to pick up on Amazon these days and or eBay. So but Bob sells them £9.95 for 100. So and it's only £2 postage for a couple of hundred, so that's the best way to get them. And he sold out. He sold out on the day, so definitely worth getting in contact. There's loads more beautiful Doc Savages. Some of those thick ones are the double volumes, where they got 2 stories in one, and those are beautiful copies, very, very high grade. By now, I thought I better nip out and film the queue, so I did, and as is traditional. And as I said, it wasn't quite as long as last time for the amount of people waiting to go in, but it certainly filled up later in the day. I think it was just people got delayed actually getting to the hotel rather than last time in the spring show where they were queued right around the corner at this point. But still a healthy turnout. And this is the table outside where they've always got the flyers for the shows that are coming up. Not just the ones at Bloomsbury, but all around the country. It's very much a community, the book selling and book dealing crowd. I mean, they really are. They look out for each other, and that's really good to see. And there's a little list of all the dealers that were there, and you see there's a fair old batch of them, which is great. I mean, I just couldn't believe the stuff that was on sale in the ephemera fair. I mean, just mind-blowing stuff that I'd never seen before. Really fantastic, just to even look at it, and I filmed as much as I could. You'll be pleased to hear. I think this is Jamie's store. He just specialises in crime. That's his main thing. That copy of The Italian Job there, I think we go back on it a little bit later. So it was the very, very scarce movie tie-in of The Italian Job. There it is, yeah. £50 on that. But I've got to admit, how often do you ever see it? Pretty darn scarce, that one. Yeah, some good stuff there, as you can see. And Barry Hunter. Hello, Barry.
My name's Mick Cocksedge.
Mick, yeah, nice to meet you, Mick. So I've seen you out. I've only been going to these shows recently, the last 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, basically. I've seen you, but we never actually got around to having a chat, have we?
Very elusive.
The elusive, yes. Mick. Yeah. So I thought today would be the day to do it. A few different people to talk to today.
Yeah, go for it.
So what I always find fascinating with dealers is what first got you into vintage paperbacks, and how did you end up being a dealer in vintage paperbacks?
Mid-90s. I was in America. I was in Memphis, and I found a load of digests.
American Digest.
American Digest, like Rainbow, Falcons, Venus.
Okay.
And I thought, I like them. Yeah. I didn't know why.
But the covers and that, what sort of era were they?
They were early 50s. They were 51, 52,
okay,
53.
nice, yeah.
So they were really early ones.
Yeah.
And that was mid-90s.
So even then, quite old, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite retro. Yeah.
I got them for a couple of bucks each. So I was like, these are cheap and cheerful.
Yeah.
And then I left it for a few years, and then I found some more.
Yeah.
So I've collected American Digests in the early 50s for 30 years now.
Right, and what, those particular titles, or science fiction or crime, or
mostly the sort of the thrillers, all the Falcon,
right,
Rainbow stuff, so the more sort of sleazier stuff, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, you could call it sleaze.
Yeah, a little bit, not quite.
Well, I mean, laughable nowadays, but yeah. Okay.
So I've collected them, and I've got thousands.
Yeah. You can say you're amongst friends on this.
I've got to be careful. The wife's off camera. And then over the years, as most people do, you adapt your collections and what you're into. And I've just built up such a massive collection of books. I thought a few years ago, I've been coming here and the other venue as well, Bloomsbury Hotel, was it? I can't remember.
Victoria?
And even the one before that.
Right.
So I've been coming here quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I just thought a few years back, just after COVID again, I just thought, do you know what? Let's try and offload.
Offload a bit. Yeah.
Stuff that I've stopped collecting, stuff that just doesn't. I think other people would enjoy more than me. Instead of just hoarding it, I let it go.
Okay. So you're keeping your cream of your collection.
Yeah.
But what you brought to the show today, and previous shows, is so you do sort of wheel and deal a bit. It comes your way. So you know what you're looking for as well.
Yeah. A lot of these are seconds. So I've got a lot of stuff I've already got anyway. So and I've really got into the last sort of 10 years collecting the more UK stuff. So as well as your badges, I buy red seals.
I saw you had the badges there. They're lovely. Yeah.
Red seals, banners, or any UK stuff. So I've stopped collecting the digest now, and I've really gone into the UK paperback market.
Okay.
Much to her annoyance, but when the postman turns up.
No, my wife is exactly the same. She has more books. And that is, it's like, another 5 or 6. And I've been getting books for a friend of mine in Australia, and when we got a couple of hundred, they're then going out in a big box to Australia. So there's books turn up not even addressed to me. You're just my poor post lady, but brilliant.
So I just thought after a few years, let's try and sell some books. And I really enjoy these shows, and they're great way to meet people. And I get to buy some more books.
Secretly, as long as you're selling more than you're taking home, then that's a good equation. I think. That's what I would say. I say, I'm getting rid of more than I'm buying. How's it been today? Have you had a busy day?
Very good.
Yeah.
The banking lady here was
the bank. Yeah.
It's
you might be going out. Might be going out for a takeaway tonight.
We are getting a takeaway. The last ones we've done here, the last three or four here, we've done really well. It's been a really good event.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to miss it, because I just enjoy it so much.
I'm glad to hear it. I think personally there's a whole new generation of people getting in. Yeah, younger people. And I think it's possibly, you could call it the YouTube generation, where they're just, because not just me, there's lots of other channels now doing old books, and maybe they're just getting interested. The current brand new book market is so awful, I think. But there's such a rich heritage, and the books are sometimes cheaper than what you could get your local bookshop to buy. And I think, you've got something that's 50, 60 or more years old, like a $5 or less at this show, yet you might have to pay 15 quid for a new book in a bookshop or Waterstones. So I think
I've got a few comics out here, magazines and comics, Marvel stuff and whatever, and that's where the youngsters seem to they attract to them, and then they start looking at the
gravitate
books.
to the proper books.
So I'm drawing them in with the comics.
That's a good plan. Because it is a natural progression. Certainly I started collecting comics before I collected books. So in actual fact, fantastic. Well, I'm really glad we finally caught up. I'm glad you're having a good day today. It's been a great show. It's been besieged again, haven't we? Really busy at times.
It was busy a hour or so ago.
But we don't mind. It's all good stuff. And
thanks
have
a
good
Jules.
rest of the show.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you for Mick there. That was really good to finally get to catch up with him. And he's always got a really interesting story. He had some lovely Badger books, but blimey, I don't know where to start with those at the moment. I'm on a bit of a Badger hiatus because I bought so many last year. So, but yeah, really good to speak to Mick, and he had a really interesting mix of stuff, Now, these are quite good. I forget the dealer's name. He's right next to Bob, actually. But he always has quite a nice... He has these long plastic boxes, and they're themed. Now, this was outside. This is on the way in. So this is... I couldn't believe this. Ambro Heath. And look at this, it's from Edward Bolden's personal library, signed by Bolden there. It's the Ambrose Heath Faber cookbook. £1,000 was on that one. Pile of Ian Fleming first editions as well. I was like, wow. Quite nice to see. Not something you just come across and can browse every day. So very, very nice to see some Fleming first there. There was some very nice dance to the music of time, Anthony Poole's as well, which I'm pretty sure we see in a minute. Bob's putting up some of his beautiful pulps now and his artwork. And the room is really, really jumping, as you can see. Yeah, stacked stools.
Tom Lesser.
Tom, I know you've been coming to the show for many, many years, but this is the first time in a few years, isn't it? Post-COVID?
Yes.
Yeah, and now I've only ever heard, I mean, you are basically a legend in the world of paperback collectors and dealers, and you're a show organizer as well, yeah?
I am.
So is it the LA show?
It's the LA Vintage Paperback Show, and this next year will be year 45.
Wow, that's amazing. And you've done all of those yourself, have you?
Yes. Well, I have other people that help me now.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Bob's been over to the LA show, and he says you always make an effort, you get lots of authors in.
We have between 45 and 55 authors every year.
That's incredible, isn't it? All signing and that, yeah.
The problem is a lot of the vintage older authors have passed away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really class acts. Like Robert Bloch. I had Mickey Spillane one year.
Yeah.
Fabulous guest.
Yeah.
Robert Bloch, A. Van Vogt, just a lot of really, really good people.
Yeah, I think Bob was mentioning one show you had Harlan Ellison, Ray Bradbury.
Yes.
I mean, there was just, the list was like the who's who.
Well, we had Bradbury for at least 15 years or more.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Ellison we only had twice.
Right.
The third show and the 37th show.
All right. How was he to deal with? Was he all right? Didn't tear up anybody's books or anything?
No comment.
No comment, okay. Now, I know you've been collecting your entire life. What's your sort of specialty, and is there anything you're actually looking for yourself?
Just a few little bits. I concentrated more on British and Australian and Canadian rather than American.
Okay.
I have a lot of American stuff, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't collect.
Yeah. And anything you're particularly still looking for even now?
A few bits to fill in certain runs.
Yeah. What, Boardman or?
I have all the Boardmans. I need 3 hardbacks and jackets.
Wow,
I don't have the jackets.
Wow, that's fantastic. Do you remember which ones those are?
Yeah, Shadow for a Lady, the Bloodhound version is very, very scarce.
Right, okay.
And then an Ape in Velvet. There are 533 Boardman hardbacks.
Yeah.
The only one they repeated is an Ape in Velvet.
Wow. Yeah,
it's number 39, the first numbered one.
Yeah.
Then they did a Bruno Fisher number 40. Then they didn't know what to do for 41. So they took the 39s that were left and reissued it as number 41. That's why an Ape in Velvet is very scarce because it has half the print run.
Yeah, see.
And I have 41 in a jacket. It took me forever to find it.
Yeah.
And I've never seen 39 in a jacket. Nobody has it.
No one's got it.
Lindsay Greenslade doesn't have it. He has a big Boardman collection.
I see. Oh, fantastic. Oh, well, I mean, you've had such a long and varied sort of career in collecting. I mean, any highlights that you can remember? Anything special with an author or something like that at your show?
Well, just the authors. I had Robert Bloch was my only guest at my first 3 shows.
Right, yeah.
And he was an absolute class act.
Really?
Just a nice man.
Yeah, great with the fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not... And the thing with Mickey Spillane, he was scheduled to sign at my show from 11 to 1.
Yeah.
And he signed from 11 to 5 minutes to 4.
Right.
And I asked him, why are you so nice to everyone, Mr. Spillane? You're incredible. And he gave me the best answer in history.
Now, what was that?
Why wouldn't I be?
Yeah.
And then I look at certain other authors and I say, you guys should behave like Mickey Spoil.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah. Like you say, a class act. A class act.
Harlan Ellison would be one of those.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we best leave it at that, I suppose.
Exactly.
Brilliant. But yeah, I mean, fantastic. So, do you think you'll ever come back to any more London shows?
Oh, sure. I'm planning on coming every year.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, fantastic.
I just didn't come because of COVID.
Understood.
The risk of, because I'm old. So, it's a certain risk, whatever.
Absolutely.
But I have a lot of friends and people here that I know. And by the way, I've seen the videos that you do.
Yeah.
They are really, really spot on.
Oh, thank you.
I'm serious. You've done on a 1 to 10 scale, your videos are a 15.
Wow, brilliant. Thank you.
No, seriously.
No, I really appreciate that.
I wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. I wouldn't say anything.
Okay. Well, brilliant. I really appreciate that, Tom. Well, maybe one day I'll get to LA and I'll film your show. That would be fantastic.
You got it.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
You got it. Thank you.
So that was great to finally get to meet the legendary Tom Lesser of the LA Paperback Show. Tom's got an incredible collection, and Bob and Maurice have been over to the show. Steve Jones has been over a few times as well, and they've even stayed with him. And his own collection is apparently absolutely phenomenal. So I'd really like to go over to the LA show at some point. So you never know. It'd be fantastic to go over and film that one. Now we're back outside here. This is the little sort of corridor as you go into the main paperback show, and that leads on into then the ephemera fair. So I didn't want to not capture some of this, and there was some really good stuff there. That early tube map there, I mean, it's a bit before I've got some from the sort of the 70s up, but that one from the 1930s, I mean, wow, pretty scarce stuff. And they had lots of like London transport stuff. I think it's fascinating myself, and I can certainly understand the appeal that people have got if they want to sort of collect that sort of thing. And it was on offer. The ephemera fair was really something that there was just something for everybody. There was old maps, there was like movie memorabilia, cinema posters, there was old photographs, the carte de vite, like miniature sort of greeting cards almost, postcard dealers, loads and loads of books as well, of course, antiquarian stuff, old travel guides. I mean, there was a real mixture of stuff. Board games, I mean, you name it. It was that ephemera show. I mean, really was card games there, card sets, just incredible. You just don't know what you're going to come across at these sorts of shows. It's you really, if you want to not miss anything, you just have to go to every single show, I think. And if I lived in London, I definitely would. Here's yet more rare, beautiful hardback firsts. Very, very nice indeed. Every time I went back to this stall, the dealer in charge of it wasn't actually there, so I kept missing him because I did want to speak to him about a couple of the books because they were so fantastic, Here's a very, very nice run of the Anthony Poole's Dance to the Music of Time. They were all there. The early ones were reprints, but as you can see, they're all in dust wrapper, and they even had a couple of his ones which weren't part of a Dance to the Music of Time, but were done in the same style dust jacket for fans of that. So some of them would come out much earlier, like Venusberg, for example. So yeah, really nice stuff. I can't remember the name of the person who designed the jackets, but the fact that they were all uniform really makes them stand out, and a couple of them are real favourites of mine. Casanova's Chinese restaurant, I think, is my one of my favourites. In fact, there it is. Yeah, very nice with the lantern on the cover and spine. Yeah, nice copies of these. They were in print a long time in hardback. They had multiple printings, I think, for libraries and things like that. So, but lovely to see the set like that. Fantastic. A few new dealers again this time round. There's at least 2 or 3 new dealers. They brought along some great stuff. Jeff West from Quixador. He had some stuff there. There's some people selling some collections for him as well, which is brilliant. And yeah, there really was lots to go through and see. I think if I hadn't been filming, I would have probably bought even more. So it's probably a good job I was filming, because you get to see what I picked up at the end of the video, and I got loads, absolutely loads. So one thing I'll tell you about right now is when I first went in the show, if you remember the last one I went to, it was the Bloomsbury like Rare First Edition show, which is alongside the photography fair, and I went to the October one of that, and it was really, really good. I've put a video up on the channel about that, so if you've not watched that one, if you want to see something a little bit different but in the same venue, then do go and watch that video. But at that show, off a dealer called George, I was able to pick up some more copies of the Penrose Annual, which is this fantastic, like a printer's yearbook, and it went for 80 odd years, right back to sort of like 1895. I think it started till 1980. This is an incredible run. So I went in and said hello to George, and he said, "Oh, Jules, I brought more of them Penrose Annuals for you. They're just under the table over there." So I said, "Oh, right, yeah, brilliant. I'll go and have a look." I went to pull the box out under the table. I literally couldn't move it. It was so heavy. And then I opened up the lids, and there must have been 30 Penrose Annuals in there. I literally could not believe it. So I ended up buying 7 of those, which you'll see at the end of this video, and they're absolutely fantastic. So really, really delighted to get some more Penrose Annuals for my collection. I have no idea where they're going to go, because they're so enormous and they're so heavy, but at the same time they're just too good to turn down. So thanks for thinking of me, George. Really appreciate that, and they were well received. Some more of the larger Weird Tales analogues and magazine stuff. I think this was the Conquistador store. Yeah, books, load of Tarzan. There's a real mixture of stuff on this stall. I think they were just they bought a couple of big collections, I believe, and they were just trying a few different things just to see what might move along, you know. So box with lots of Philip K. Dick. Not all like first printings or anything, but still very nice to see, and they weren't overly priced either. Lots of Jack Vance as well. Robbie Howard's. All fantastic stuff. Really nice quality on that stall. Very, very nice indeed. Robert E. Howard stuff. Once again, magazines and fanzines. Some really vintage stuff as well. Very, very nice. More old pulps. These are just gorgeous. Daren't start collecting them though. as much as I think they're lovely to look at. Lovecraft fanzines. Signed and limited. Yes, some really, really interesting stuff at this show there. They're just fantastic. Very, very nice indeed. And a bit more of Bob's Weird Tales. And there he is, the man. I am Dorset Bob. Here we are at another London paperback show, Steve, and I'm with my friend Steve Holland. What a great book that was, wasn't it? Beyond the Void.
Beyond the Void, yes.
You're wearing the T-shirt for it today, and I see you've got a couple of copies with you, yeah?
Yes, yes.
So, viewers, in case you've not noticed or seen the video, we did a little feature on Beyond the Void, and we did a little talk through about the history of Badger books, which we absolutely loved. You've got something brand new today, by the look of it.
I have.
So, what can you tell us about Utopia then?
Utopia was founded by Benson Herbert. Benson was a science fiction fan.
Yeah.
And he'd worked for a man called Lloyd Cole. So Lloyd Cole had published, during the war, published a variety of small pamphlet type thrillers, crime novels, children's books. Benson wanted to move into a different direction. He was interested and had written science fiction.
Yeah.
So he did science fiction. He tapped a chap called Wally Gillings. Wally had imported a lot of stories from America because he was the editor of Tales of Wonder.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Tales of Wonder folded during the war. Wally had these stories sitting around. Benson decided that he would publish some.
Yeah.
But to make sure they sold, he put topless ladies on them.
Yeah.
So
a
there are a
natural
number
charm,
of. There's only about 9 of these books. They're incredibly scarce.
Yeah.
Because they are not the sort of thing that people would hand into a charity shop or try and resell.
From sheer embarrassment, I suppose. Yeah.
So Benson moved on to publishing what were called spicy magazines.
Okay.
And that was just a way in for him to sell photographs, art studies of various models, including I think Andre and his girlfriend.
What sort of period were these? Is they post-war?
So Benson Herbert was just 1944 started with the science fiction.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Soon after the war, they started to clamp down on nudity and nude magazines unless they were proper art studies.
Yeah.
So they gave way to the spicy magazines and his photo business.
Yeah.
Which would have been 48 to 51.
Right. Okay. Right. So that's the period. Yeah. Okay. And your new book then, all about the history of Utopia.
The history of it covers Lloyd Cole, who was started off as a Baptist minister, preaching against pornography, who then gets involved in printing books with naked women in.
Right.
He also, there's a couple of fraud cases that he's involved in, him and his girlfriend. So Benson has moved off, and he eventually is put out of business by the courts, who kept fining him for pornography.
I see.
So I mean,
a familiar
it's not the
story.
Sort, it's not the sort of pornography that we would know today.
No.
But there's
stuff you could actually give to your mother to read, and she'd laugh.
Of
probably.
course. I mean, I've printed some examples of the stories and the storylines that they did, and you would, literally, you would laugh.
Yeah, it is crazy. So if I can have a little flick through the book here, so
of course.
Try and capture this. Oh, it's beautiful. This is your typical layout, isn't it? It's just gorgeous.
Well, I try and cram in as many pictures as I can.
Look at these early pans.
The stories in the spicy magazines, there were 2 main authors. One was Norman Firth. So there's a big essay in there about Norman Firth.
Yeah.
And Sid Bounds, who was he used to come along to the paperback shows many years ago, and but he started as a writer for these spicy magazines. So there's a little essay about Sid Bounds in the book as well. And a couple of other writers are just in there.
Fantastic.
As they were.
Yeah. Brilliant. Now, is this one available to buy right now? Is this like hot off the press?
This is hot off the press. It will be available within the next 10 days. There may be some copies available immediately.
Is this direct from the website? So
you can grab it from the website, or in about 10 days it will be available on eBay and Amazon.
eBay and Amazon, and of course, don't forget Beyond the Void, which is fantastic. The History of Badger, superb book, absolutely amazing.
Still available.
But that looks equally good as well. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. I tried with these, and I was intending to do a book about a different publisher, but I realised that I didn't have enough illustrations, and I try and cram in
makes a huge
as many
difference.
illustrations.
It looks really nice. Yeah.
So I didn't have enough illustrations, so I thought, well, what can I do between now and the book fair and get it out? So
did Utopia? Brilliant. Oh well, fantastic. Well, thanks for catching up with us, Steve.
That's all right.
I shall look forward to reviewing that one on the channel soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
No problem at all.
And yeah, really good new book that from Steve there. Very much was impressed with this Badger one that came out earlier this year, and this is very much in the same vein, bowled over by the illustrations, and that's just what we like as paperback and pulp fans. Is a well illustrated non-fiction book. There's just not enough for them to go around, if you ask me. And I think this is Neil's stall. I'm losing track now, but every time I tried to get into Neil's stall, he was just besieged. So I managed to film just a box or two before the doors opened properly, and then I just had to abandon ship. It was just crazy. Plus Bob needed the help, so I downed cameras at that point and dive over and gave Bob a hand because we were really busy. But yeah, some good stuff in it. And you see, these are not really expensive books, £2 to £4 in a lot of cases for the more common stuff. It was brilliant. Yeah, I'm sure this is Neil's stall, because I picked up a Stephen King first that I was after, which was pretty cool. This is, I think, is it a movie tie-in bit? Yeah, some of his movie tie-ins. Yeah, that's the one, Night Shift, which was one I didn't have, a nice New English Library one, so I grabbed that one off Neil's stall. That was a nice little addition. I'm trying to pick up Stephen King and James Herbert in paperback first. It's not an easy job, particularly with Stephen King, because some of those are really expensive, the earlier books, which is fine. You expect that. They are cultish and collectible. Particularly the New English Library First to Carry. That's a rare little paperback book, I can tell you that. But yeah, come the end of the show, these boxes were like flopping around. Neil had sold absolutely stacks, so I guess the pricing was spot on. It's nice. It's the original copy of Interview with the Vampire. That's the version I read and will remember reading. First off, a good book it is too. Also recommend the TV adaptation. There's Bob's stall, peeking. Basically, you can't get near it. That is what it was like for many, many hours. And as soon as a spot opened, someone would jump in. Yes. Which is great. And deservedly so. The stuff was there and it was great quality. And people know that he's got that reputation. So he was always busy. And there he is chatting with Steve Jones, who came in for a few of his weird tales, I believe. Steve's got a great weird tales collection. And I think Bob might have had one or two that Steve was looking for. And give you an idea of the show. As I said, most stalls were pretty much surrounded most of the time, so I couldn't really dive in and film whilst people were browsing and buying, so I just timed my moment. You can see the boxes are looking quite empty. It doesn't take long. Okay, so once again I'm here with Paperback Show organiser Neil. Neil, it's been another busy show, hasn't it?
It has been probably busier than expected, considering we've had to contend with Storm Burt, Piccadilly lines out of action, several main line routes are messed up because of trees on the line and all the rest of it, and yet it was still extremely busy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was fine up until the doors opened, and then I had to abandon ship, not do any filming at all until, well, sort of about an hour ago, because it's just been mental. But familiar faces again, but also some new faces. A few people seen the videos, they're checking it out, and I thought the ephemera fair was packed as well, absolutely packed out.
I mean, I've been so busy that I've not had time to look around the rest of the fair, which is really frustrating.
Actually, yeah.
It's probably stuff which actually is probably good. I've saved a lot of money by not looking around the fair, but
so you're taking back less books than you came with?
plenty of people do that. They come here to sell, and then they end up going back with
more,
just as many as they came with, but different. So it's no, we've got different dealers, a couple of different dealers, and as you say, very well attended. I think, to be honest, very slightly down on numbers compared to the last show. But in view of all the problems with
almost to be expected.
It's amazing that so many people have made it in.
Absolutely, it shows determination of the collector. I was at a toy fair just yesterday. It was a similar situation, and if anything, the weather was worse today. So, it is what it is, isn't it? Brilliant. Any particular? I mean, when I came here this morning, I started filming your stall. I can clearly see that you've sold lots of books. Any particular trends today? People have been picking up.
I've been delighted because I brought up less than I would normally bring. And much of what I've got is what I've been bringing up to the last couple of fairs. So I thought, I'm probably not going to sell much today, but I've sold as much stuff as I have done at the
that's
previous
good. We're
fair.
bringing less up.
People have just been book after book after book. People are finding stuff that they want.
Oh, that's good. We always have a nice movie tie-in section, I have to say, always, but which I have actually called on film. So,
I mean, all these boxes which were jam-packed at the start of they're all like 2/3 full now. So.
Absolutely, so that's good. Show some stuff sold, We've always said that one of the great things about Paperback Show is you could come here with 20 quid and leave with a carrier bag, and that's often the case, isn't it? So
people have been showing me that.
Look what I got for this.
Look what I got. I got 9 paperbacks for £1.
Yeah, well, that literally was the case. Yeah, I saw that store. I mean, that is, you don't want to take anything home today. So I actually spent £2 with that guy. Big pal myself. A lot of it's just going to be for reading and that. But
and also, I've sold quite a few of these.
The prints are lovely, aren't they? Yeah, they're really nice.
They've been very popular, which is good.
So it's the original covers. Have they been? They look like they're really nice copies, or have they been touched up?
They're all my copies. Books which I've scanned, done a high resolution scan, and then had that blown up onto good quality card.
Right.
The colour is really strong, and the
quality
is really good.
It's fantastic.
And it's good to know that so many people appreciate the artwork on the paperback covers. Some people buy them to read. They couldn't care less about the covers. But I don't know what the percentage is, but an awful lot of people, they never read them. They just buy them purely for the covers.
Absolutely,
and that's the evidence.
That's that market.
I've sold some American pulp magazines. Not as many as I would have liked. Possibly that side of things is slowing down a bit. Maybe it'll pick up again at the next fair, who knows?
You just don't know. There's a lot of pulps here this time, I thought. But are there that many collectors still? I don't know.
I think because they're so, because they date back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, before almost anybody here was collecting.
It's not nostalgia.
Huge market
no, that's true. No. Oh, brilliant. Well, looking ahead, do we have a date for the next show yet?
I haven't confirmed anything, but it's strongly looking like it could be March the 30th.
About March the 30th.
The next one.
Okay.
Obviously, once I know for sure,
we'll get the word out on the channel and that.
Absolutely. The dealers I've spoken to all seem to have done well.
Good.
So they're keen to do another one.
Brilliant.
The public seem to be very happy, going away with huge bags full of stuff.
That's it. Absolutely.
It's just the problem is between now and the next fair finding more.
That's it. We've got to unearth these collections. That's the hard part, isn't it?
Some people seem to be very good at unearthing collections. I'm rubbish. I
think it's being really persistent. I think you just really bang that drum, shake all the trees that you can shake.
I'm one of these people. I'll find, one book in one second-hand bookshop, and another book in another second-hand bookshop, and eventually I got enough to half fill a box.
What we want is that dream collection to come in. A few thousand books in one. Ideal. Oh, brilliant. Well, I look forward to the March show. Thanks once again, Neil. It's been great.
And as ever, thanks to you, Jules, because your promotion, I'm sure, does a lot to get the punters in. I mean, have you had a lot of people coming up to you as a result of it?
In fact, I have. In fact, even some dealers said they're here actually on the back of the video, which in the ephemera fair, amazingly. They said they've watched every minute of the last video, and they decided to take a stall, and they went into the ephemera fair. Who'd have thought it? Okay. Amazing, eh? So we'll keep spreading the word. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Jules.
And there we are. So this is still on Neil's stall here, and we're looking through some of his more interesting movie tie-ins. Some really obscure stuff there as well. So always good to see. That's good as well. Under Milkwood. Quite a lot of these. I'd not seen these movie tie-ins before. I have got that one for The Hill, that great early Sean Connery film. Very good. I think if you collected Pan, you would have done all right at this show. There was lots and lots of Pan stock on the stalls, and I think it's having a bit of a resurgence, Pan again. I mean, there's people coming in to the show saying that they've now started collecting Pan books, which is, you know, it's fantastic to hear. It really, really is. So pleased to hear that they're still being collected. I do think, you know, they've got a little bit more variety than Penguin. And here we are in the ephemera fair, and it was just as busy as the paperback show. Absolutely besieged and just amazing. The stuff that was on offer was really outstanding. It really, really was. So you absolutely have to do both areas in extreme detail and attention, because it's just insane. Absolutely incredible stuff. I loved it. What a show. Right then, so let's have a quick look through the books that I picked up at the show, and these are the 7 Penrose annuals that I got when I first got to the show. So 1908, 1909, it's the 1916 one, 1913/14, and 1905 and 1906. Absolutely massive tomes. Obviously, they're going to need a bit of a clean. I got 3 more modern ones as well. This is the 66. It's got some sort of laminate wrapper around this one, which is, I don't know if that's how it was originally sort of sent out, but that's quite nice for a modern one. I got the 59, and I also picked up the 62. So all of these are going to need a bit of a clean, but yeah, fantastic to get another 7. I was definitely not expecting that. So that was it on the bigger books. Now onto the paperbacks. So I picked up this Stephen King first from Neil, the show organizer. Very pleased to get that one. I was also pleased to get this one. So Pan published 3 different jacketed copies of the notorious early Agatha Christie book. This is Pan number 4, and I got this one off Jamie, and this was the last of the 3 that I was actually looking for, so very pleased to get that one. This one was from the Pound store, so fantastic. I think, in fact, I'm sure it's a reprint, this one, but a reprint, yeah, 4th printing, but I believe with a brand new sort of unique jacket, and it was in quite nice condition as well. So I'm sure I haven't got that one. This one I think I might have. I haven't actually double checked it yet, but it was in such nice condition for £1. I didn't want to really leave that one behind because it was quite high grade. These were all, these next ones were from the, they were 9 books for £1. So absolutely fantastic. This is one on Penguin history. Some of these, this was from another book dealer. This is once again a reprint. He was in the middle of the room, and I got some great stuff off him, including some puffins. This is just a reprint of Animal Farm with a different jacket. I have started picking up certain authors who I like, including those 2, John Wyndham and George Orwell, later editions in just different covers, really. That was a real find. That was the hardest, toughest Penguin I found all weekend, and it's the first of Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. For Puffin storybooks, after The Hobbit, that's the next most difficult one to actually get your hands on. So I was really, really pleased to get that one at a very decent price as well, very reasonable. Once again, these were just cheap and cheerful. And these were, you know, absolutely, I mean, I worked out about 10p each, some of these. So I thought, well, even if I've already got them, I'm just going to, and they're reasonably nice condition, I'm just going to pick them up just to compare against my own copies, really. This is in the same lot as well. This is the Jonah. I am first printing again. I am picking up James Herbert in first print, a bit like Stephen King. So I was very pleased to get that one. And there's one of the other Puffins. So this one, once again, I didn't have at all in first printing for Puffin, so that finishes off the that C.S. Lewis sort of sequence. So really, really pleased with those. I picked up this once again. This was, if you can believe it, 40p. I recently did a video on vintage box sets, and this book was actually missing one of the books. I only had 3 out of the 4. I've got the books individually in my Penguin collection, but I thought for 40p, and the box actually is really quite nice, probably better than the one I've actually got. So that was good. That was 10p, a little 4 square book. Once again, an Iris Murdoch. I've been recently cleaning these, and I think this is slightly better than the one that I've already got, and it's quite a funky cover. Never going to turn those down at a decent price, or that as well. I think these were like £1. Once again, these were off Jamie. Had some cheap science fiction. This was a reprint, a George Orwell reprint, late 60s one, which, as I said, I do pick those up, and that's also my all-time favourite Orwell book, which is down and out in Paris and London. Delighted to get that one as well. That one I think was like 50p to £1. I think it said on the stall, literally fill your boots was what it said, and that's one I've been after for quite a while. A really nice 4 square from Kingsley Amis. Another George Orwell reprint, Animal Farm, different cover yet again. This is a reprint of Catcher in the Rye. It's quite a scarce Penguin book, but this one's in particularly nice condition. So I'm just going to have that one there as next to my first edition as like a reading copy, because that is a real beauty. These were £1 again off Jamie. So little ace there, and a nice early Avon by James Blish, and a couple of science fiction anthologies. A Lancer one there, First Flight, and this one on Pyramid, from Pyramid, which is Unexpected. So more good stuff, but that's not all. So a fellow YouTuber recently launched a channel, my friend Paul, and we'll put a link to his channel in the description down below. He had a few spare Philip Jose Farmer. He knows I am collecting them myself, and he brought them along to the show as a personal drop-off. So thank you very much for those, Paul. And then I got these, which once again, they worked out at, 11 pence each. It was 9 for £1. So I picked up some copies of New Worlds, which is fantastic, and some Galaxy pulps as well. I mean, at this price, it's like basically 11 pence each. I'm not going to turn them down. Just superb. I mean, they're just great for reading copies, But I haven't got many of this format of New World, so I'm pleased to get these. And these old Galaxies and that, they're just a bit of fun. And they were so cheap. I mean, literally 10 pence each. So you can't say no at that price, can you, really? So that was cool. Then I got this, if you can believe it. It's a Ruth Rendell proof from 1976, at 31st of August 76. An uncorrected proof for The Fallen Curtain. It's going to be heading to eBay, I think, that particular one. I don't collect Ruth Rendell, but finding a proof from that era, almost 50 years old, for basically 10p. I mean, you can't go wrong, can you? This was one that was donated to me by a viewer of the channel, Barry. Barry runs the Josh Kirby Appreciation fan club. On Facebook, there's a Facebook page, and he brought that one down because he knows I collect the sort of military history bits and pieces. And this was an odd B format that I actually picked up the day before when I was out and about with Dorset Bob on Saturday afternoon. So that was it for the books, but a couple other little bits to show you. So Dorset Bob had copies of the very latest issue of New Worlds in stock. So definitely picked up a copy of that one. So if you are after the latest one, Bob has them in stock. Mr. Book 451. Outlook.com if you want a copy. They are £15. And also Steve Holland was there. Steve runs Bear Alley Books, and this is his latest one, looking at the story of Utopian Publications. And this is another really well produced book, full of jackets, as you can see. Absolutely superb. From that sort of really interesting era in British and American paperback publishing history. So I think you will enjoy this one. It looks at the actual publications, the artists, the stuff on Pan in there as well. This one's literally just been published this week, so I'll be doing a full review, and of course you saw Steve talking about that one in the video. And then the last bit I got, well, completely unexpected, but what can you say? I actually picked up a piece of original artwork. So it's this here. It's this. This is for a Panther Western, and the artist's name is Kimpton. It's signed along the bottom there. It's on a piece of artboard, and the title was called "The Forbidding Land." Kimpton, yeah. And there's and as I said, it was a Panther Books cover. So I don't think, in fact, I'm pretty sure I have not got this book in my collection, although I have already found it online. So I think what I intend to do is, it's a little bit dusty, this. I'm going to very, very carefully get this, because you can see, I don't know if you can see, but there is like a little layer of dust along the top. So I'm going to gently, very gently give this a clean. I'm going to get a copy of the book. In fact, I want to get 2 copies of the book, a real mint one just to have in the collection, and one where I'm going to take the cover off and mount the front cover next to the artwork, or maybe even the front and back if I can get the whole cover off, and then get it framed. So I think that was a real sort of treat to myself, and it's just not the sort of thing that you see every day, and it's the sort of thing that turns up at that London Paperback and Ephemera show. So I was delighted to get that. It is, of course, unique. It's a one of a kind, and such a great jacket. Absolutely fantastic. Don't know much about that artist, Kimpton, but even so, yeah, full of action. So great stuff. Anyway, there we go. So that was it for yet another London Pulp and Paperback show, and what a great show it was. If you've enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Thanks again to all the people who gave me their time to have a little bit of a quick interview on the day. It was absolutely manic, but I'm really glad we were able to catch a few quick interviews. Do please hit that subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.